Like, can I come from the ceiling? I don't want to be in the casket. I want to open the casket and it not be in there. And
Jamie,
then
because at my funeral, you were the biggest piece of the puzzle.
No. I mean, at mine. I don't. Why would I be in your casket?
Now this is getting awkward.
No, I want them to open it as if I was supposed to be in there. I wasn't in there, and then I come from the ceiling.
Yeah, but do you know how scary that would be to
zip
see your
line.
saggy dead body coming down on a zip line?
It's very rude of you to assume that'd be saggy.
I mean, if there's no life left, isn't all of it sag? Like, there's nothing
Rigor
left.
mortis sets in.
That's even more
I want to
disturbing.
fly from the ceiling with glitter, and I want Space Jam to be playing.
I'm okay with that part.
I want you to be zip-lined in, and then just drop like automatically into your casket.
Into the
And then you
casket.
miss. Just died right in front of the
It's just
casket.
like a poof.
It's like
The lid was closed.
That would have been my
Had
job. My
one
bad.
job.
I wasn't ready to try it again.
Hoist her back up.
It's just some guy Lucas pulling.
I'm sorry for our sense of
See if we
humor,
can find
Kevin.
some of the
We're
building.
alive.
Please tell me this is not going to be the intro.
Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us this week on the NYC Godcast. Today we're going to continue with our series, Finding Fixes. I think it's kind of a fun series. We don't always recognize things that are broken, so then we won't fix them if we don't know they're broken. So I know I've shared on here before my story, but I just felt led to share it again, maybe with a little more detail. So as a little girl, I had always dreamed of being a wife and a mom. Every time we played pretend, I would always pretend to have a husband,
Yes.
lots of kids. It's just what I always wanted.
And a horse ranch.
There's Jamie
Horse
pretending to be a
ranch, this is
unicorn.
true.
Yes.
We all have dreams.
I was the unicorn in the story.
God blessed me, and I was able to get married very young, and we had kids pretty early in our marriage. We had been married 3 years and had 2 kids, a 1-year-old and a newborn, and just moved into our first home that we bought. This was what I dreamt of my whole life. I made it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Hang on for a bit.
Hold that, congratulations.
The problem was that excitement and that fulfillment and everything I wanted to feel, I wasn't feeling. It was mundane and it was hard and it wasn't fun at all. I remember thinking often, is this really it? Is this what I've been waiting for my whole life? Is this all there is to being a wife and a mom? I don't really remember if it was like an argument or what triggered it, but I remember praying one evening, asking God if there was more to this. Was I missing something? Was I doing something wrong? Was I the problem, or is it my family? The first thing is acknowledging something's broken. I think that we see things as broken, but we get used to that wobble of the messed up table, and eventually it's kind of just normal. We don't notice it anymore. I thought you had something to say.
You did yo.
I feel like there's some kind of metaphor for putting the plastic lids from Wendy's
Underneath the table?
Like, I feel like there's some kind of spiritual
Yeah.
application of that, but I'm just going to let you figure that
Yeah,
out.
we'll let that brew for a minute.
Okay.
So
I wasn't thinking wobbly there. I was thinking wobbly at the hinge, not wobbly at the bottom.
Why is there
my
a hinge
table
on your
doesn't have a
table?
hinge.
Not a hinge, but the
That's what you said.
I know. That's not what I meant. You should know by now. I don't say what I mean. The joint. Like, that's what I thought. I didn't think like it was wobbly because it was uneven.
I was
thought-
imagining uneven.
I was thinking wobbly
That's-
as in like,
'cause
because
you read that.
we had one that was wobbly because it would never stay tightened. So like the legs were just actually wobbly. Go ahead, what's your story?
All right, so God didn't give me some grand answer or amazing feeling that everything was going to be okay. I asked him to help me and then show me how to do this his way instead of my way. It wasn't like I had this grand like vision of everything. So the second part is asking for help. I feel like most people, once they really acknowledge that they have a problem and they can't fix it themselves, I feel like most people are willing to come and ask for help.
Yeah, I feel like there's almost a step between 1 and 2. It's figuring out that you can't fix it.
Yeah.
'Cause you can see
Yeah.
there's a problem, be like, oh, let's go. There's the application. Let's go wedge that lid under the table. I
Right.
can fix this, but then you can realize that it's gonna eventually crumble.
Right.
Yeah.
The leg will
So
just
there's like a step
pop right
between.
through.
Like
Right.
you have a problem, but you can't fix it.
And
so
then you
now
have
you
to
need to seek
explain it every
solution.
time someone comes over
Yeah.
why you have lids underneath your
Exactly.
table.
Why did I scooch up to the over here?
Yeah, right,
Because my
exactly.
kids in the back over the straw going.
I was thinking you put a bicycle horn underneath it.
There's a cloud under my table. It's
Wah, wah. Every time you laugh. What is that sound?
guys, you're never
It's
gonna
the
want to come to my
dinner
house
ball.
again.
Do you even have a table?
Actually, I don't.
Is this why you don't invite
This
us
is a
over?
foreign concept to me. I don't even know what is this
What's the
table.
table?
As you sit at the table.
Is that what this is?
So we get used to the wobbly table and just spend the rest of our life chasing our food around the table every time it tilts one way. Or we could just simply ask for help once we realize that we can't fix it ourselves.
Yeah.
So after a little while, I'd found myself with some books and studies and just different things that were gifts from other people or just things that God kind of led me to. I wasn't necessarily looking for the answer, like how you pray something and then you kind of forget you prayed it, one of those things. So I wasn't going out looking for it. Something just looked like a good book. And so here I was with all these resources, and most of them were guides to studying specific books of the Bible. So then this step, I feel like a lot of people get hung up on. We finally acknowledge that there is something broken, and we finally ask for help, and he shows us how to fix it, but then we're left having to actually apply
that's
the
nice.
fix. Yeah, that would be good for somebody else, so in our
The
minds...
problem's really not that bad, I suppose.
Right,
Like a whole new table? What do you mean?
Right, exactly. So in our minds, we think, honestly, I like the wobbly table. It gives us something to talk about over dinner.
It makes that noise,
Like the horn clonking. Is your horn clonking?
They need a new horn and a new table.
I don't know, the board is plonking.
So we have to be willing to apply and change as he directs. I read the books and did the studies, and they were really, really good. Now I knew God's way of being a wife and a mom, but I had to apply it.
Yeah.
To be honest, it was pretty much a 180 from what I had been doing all along. It wasn't fun, and it was hard, and it felt unnatural, and it went against everything I saw everyone else my age doing. But as I started applying what he was teaching me, my life was changed. Being the wife and mom he created me to be has been the most amazing journey. Yeah. It's fun, it's exciting, it's everything I looked for and hoped for. The key was seeking him first.
Yeah.
I couldn't put my marriage or my kids above him. I had to start seeking him, and then he led me through his word, through the studies and different things in his way of being a wife and mom. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I thought he was going to start reading the next one.
I felt like I was too. I'm like, that's my line.
Go ahead, say it, because it's true.
I am from the perfect mom and mom.
Far from.
I really am.
He's far from
I
the screen and can't read it.
I am far from a perfect mom and wife.
This is true. I would have to amen that.
I think that was good. I think that says it. No, what I was going to say was, like, it really just isn't really what we're talking about this month, but I think it's a great point to bring up that sometimes the best way to enjoy our blessings is to find dissatisfaction in them first.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's what I kind of conclude.
You can't appreciate what you
have.
have.
Yeah, like the way it works, if you are a Christian, your first and foremost satisfaction comes from Christ. The problem is we put satisfaction from all these other things above him.
Yeah.
And so just like that, if you're looking for satisfaction in your family as a good mom and wife, then the best thing you can do to be a better mom and wife is to actually find your lack there, to find your dissatisfaction, so that he can show grace through weakness, so that he can show himself. And so that's what you're saying is you put Christ first and everything else falls into place, really. Yeah. But you can apply that to anything, like whether that's your job, whether that's your family, whether that's your, I mean, even doing podcasts. Like I enjoy doing podcasts. I find a lot of fulfillment in them. But if my fulfillment comes from this, the best thing that can happen here is for me to become dissatisfied so that I can find true satisfaction. And then all of a sudden I'll be blessed by this. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Well, I think that's the process of growing in general. So like you had to go through that 180 turn, but it's not I did this 180 turn and now I'm done.
Right.
So you're constantly going to be finding things that you're unsatisfied with.
Right.
So it's part of the growing process. If you're not unsatisfied at some point, then you're not growing. You're just stagnant. You're staying where you're at.
Yeah.
Good point.
I just heard this week. I don't remember where. I could have heard it in my sleep. But
Jenny just whispering in your ear.
So you told yourself.
It's very well could be. The road to sanctification, the road to Jesus is paved with discomfort, which means constant change.
Yes.
And so there's no way to him without. So if you are living comfortably, or if you're living a life that doesn't change, you're not on the road to Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
True.
Well put.
I'll go back to sleep and get some more thoughts.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
We all got quiet. Like that.
I'm far from a perfect mom or wife, as Josh has already said. I have many days that I still struggle, and I go back to doing things my way or how I want. But it's in my heart to do things the right way and to truly desire to do it his way. When I start feeling flustered or aggravated at the kids or CJ, I go back to what he's taught me. I don't know if CJ can remember, there's time and time again that I'll be stressed or just overwhelmed with all the things that are coming up. And I'll just be like, I know the right way to handle this and I know I'm not doing that. I just have to get back to that.
Yeah.
And so I may have loosened up here or there, but I have to go back through and reapply what he has shown me.
I think a really
You're too slow.
She didn't hear me.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The class recognizes Kevin.
I'm so sorry. I just started talking. Go ahead.
So like one of the things that I noticed that we all do in our life is that we rarely, almost never go to God first.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't know why, because if I knew why, then we would
just
do
right.
it. We would share it, then we would know. But we just, as creatures of the flesh, okay, maybe because society, I don't know, but like the world is like, you can do this, you can do this, you know what I mean? And it's like, nope, I really can't do nothing. God can do this for me,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So like, I think it's all of our goal to turn to God first,
Yes.
but we tend to turn to Him last or in the middle at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think it's interesting that you pointed out that you have to continually remind yourself of
Yep.
that, because some people think like, I'm going to go to God for this, and then He's going to cover everything from here forth. Like I'm on autopilot now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that's when the complacency
Yep.
sets in.
We're gonna actually talk about this next month, but
sorry.
I know
So far ahead.
but it's interesting. Like you brought up, like you have to go back to what you know.
Yep.
Like you're doing it wrong,
Yeah.
but you know how to do it right. And like I feel that deeply at a deep level. Like
Yeah.
just that I know what I need to do. And Paul does too. In
Yeah.
Romans 7, he says
Go
the
ahead.
the good that I would, I do not, but the bad that I would not, that I do is as close as I'm going to say it.
That was impressive. That was pretty good.
I've been practicing for 6 years. In my closet by myself every night.
Do you fit in your closet?
Yes, I do. How large do you think I am?
No, I thought you guys had small closets.
We have side-by-side sliding doors. So I would have to be a big boy.
I don't think I can fit.
Yes, you could. You could lay down. You could eat.
He probably doesn't have like
You could eat
dressers and
summer
stuff.
sausages
See,
in there.
whenever you have the sliding
I
door,
don't
you always
know
have a
why.
dresser or something in there. CJ.
I had to talk to him. You guys were ignoring me.
Oh, sorry about that.
We were doing a podcast.
I wish I cared.
But the point here is that we can learn the truth. God can show
Yep.
us the truth. The problem is we have to continually apply the truth we've learned. And sometimes there's a gap between what we know to do, the truth we've learned, and what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
So God's shown you how to be a good mom and a good wife. But sometimes you decide not to do that anyway.
Yes.
So you have to go back to what you know, not to and
Not what I feel.
The enemy's ploy is always to distract us from what we know.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's what he does in the garden, right? He comes
Right.
to the serpent. The serpent comes to Eve. I didn't call women serpents. He comes to the woman, and he says, "Did God really say that?" Right? He's bringing doubt upon
Yes.
God's word, and that's the same thing. He's trying to whack away at truth and trying to make her doubt what she knew.
Yes.
And look more at what she's experienced and what she could experience. And that's the same thing we all go
Calm down.
through.
You're getting too much into it.
Okay,
Next month.
okay. We recognize Jamie now.
So, like, what I was going to say is, so I think one of our big problems, and I know that we've talked about this, especially in this actual context of when you were trying to figure out why in the world you weren't satisfied with this, is that you have to worry about your own wobbly table.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if CJ's table's wobbly. If your table's wobbly, it's not about, your table has nothing to do with his table.
Right. We sit at separate tables.
Yes, separate tables.
House divided and all.
Because I
His
think,
table.
because I think that's the thing. Like,
outside.
I'm always like, my marriage is bad because he did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? It has nothing to do with that because you're not going to stand in judgment for the things that they do. You're going to stand in judgment for the
Yeah.
way you treat it.
So did you have something?
Was it you just keep shoving Wendy's lids underneath CJ's table and my
One
table's
day we were
falling
in the
apart.
newspaper that CJ's been arrested for stealing Wendy's lids from the restaurant. I expect that someday. But what I was going to say was to what Jamie's saying, which is a great point. Like, yes, we'll be judging our own wobbly table, and that not your spouse's, not your, like, you will be judged on your own table. But then the other thing is, like, consider being the table wobble fixer. What are you doing? You're making that person dependent upon your fixes. And that can be just as dangerous.
Yes.
That can be just as lethal spiritually when someone becomes so dependent upon you fixing them that they
Yes.
no longer go to the Lord. Like, you're creating your own
Yeah.
person needing
Yeah.
fixes by
Yeah.
fixing them.
Yeah.
They're putting your table on top of that table, and they're like, just fix that
Yeah,
for me.
like you gotta call, like, I need more lids to the cups because my table's wobbling again. Like, and suddenly, like that.
Yeah.
And that, what I'm not saying, like, it is a very biblical concept to be like to share one another's burdens and to work through things together. But when it comes to spiritual fixes, there is one fix. And to rely upon someone else to be that fix is a no-win for everyone involved.
Do you think that's a pride thing? Because it's one of those things where
you like to be the fix.
Yeah, you want to be the fixer.
And I also think it's a laziness thing, or just because it just like you're saying, it takes hard work. It's uncomfortable. It's not fun to find your own problems and to have the Lord fix them. It's a lot easier to say, Rachel, fix my wobbly table.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and that's the perfect answer. Again, that's not the perfect answer. That the only answers Rachel can provide for me are going to be eventually a
Back to
problem.
him.
Yeah, flawed or faulty. Eventually, they're going to fall apart. And so, anytime you're relying on someone else for a fix that only the Lord can provide, it's just a temporary band-aid on the problem.
Yeah.
First of all, I think that you guys' idea of putting Wendy's lids on the wobbly table, that's faulty in itself. Which he was going to old magazine and fold it and then stick it under there.
Also, how are you getting these Wendy's lids?
Like, is that what the first thing comes to your mind when you think
No, only because
Okay.
you
Coaster.
said.
Okay.
Or
what it was
I feel like what it is, when we were young, we only went to Wendy's. And when we went to Wendy's, the tables always
But-
wobbled.
so-
So you grab the first thing you could find, which was I don't know why
Back
that's in my
then,
head.
they
But
were
that's,
yellow.
I was really wondering
yeah,
about that.
I don't
I'm
think we
like,
did that at home. That would be ridiculous.
Are you talking about the
There's a
yellow?
horn to the
Are you talking about the yellow Wendy's days?
Yeah, it was yellow and red.
Yeah,
like
yellow,
just
like the
obnoxious
yellow cups.
90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You just dated yourself.
I know. I just heard stories of it. The rumors.
Hey, did you hear about the yellow and red cups from Wendy's passing off?
pass it on to your children.
Wow, this went somewhere. Didn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if it was good, but it went somewhere.
Are we all satisfied?
I think I'm good.
We're good.
Do you want to charge us?
I
Challenge
will
us?
charge you
Okay.
with the
Monies
challenge.
for this.
You get my bill at the
I'll
end.
charge you for the challenge that you've given me today.
I'd like to challenge you all to pray this week about a fix that you've maybe fixed before, but maybe you need to go and reapply what you've learned and fix it. Anyway, that doesn't make any sense.
That looks like I wrote that. There's my line.
Do you mean go fix it permanently instead of...
Go find something in your life that needs a tune-up that you have
Okay.
fixed once before.
I like it
and
the first bit
I don't even know what that's supposed to say.
I need to fix
It's
that
just
because I'm
go
pretty
away.
sure I copy and pasted that already. And that's what everyone else is going to read.
They're going, oh no, I smell burnt toast.
Oh,
I think
it's
one
stroke.
of the
Yeah.
I like the way you put that. Go a tune up because like I'm not a car person, but I do know that I need a tune up like at least once a year.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you may feel as though you've defeated one sin in your life, but you also need to like revisit. Not necessarily repeat that sin,
Yes.
you know what I mean? But just because you defeat the sin once does not mean it's not going to rear its ugly head again.
Yep.
So I like your...
Well, the Bible says, "Search my heart." So I think that that's something that we need to do daily, is to be searching ourselves to find those tune-ups.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go to every table you come across.
Every
and
table.
Take it for a wobble.
Yeah, exactly.
Going to Wendy's.
Someone has that job, I bet you.
No, apparently not. Or they would have been fixed.
They glue them now.
Oh, do they?
Oh, well, they
the new
did.
Wendy's.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the concrete.
Yes, no
Yeah,
They're
wobbly.
bolted down.
They had so many
They listened to this podcast and took our advice. Wow, Dave would be so happy.
A chicken if it wobbled.
This?
You're a chicken.
Your
if it
dad-
wobbled.
I'm a chicken wobbled.
There's a gap on that side.
Who built this table?
Your dad.
Well,
Your dad.
Some comeback.
Wow.
This is taking a turn. Quotas.
All right, so I'm going to quote.
Quote Murray.
Okay, fine. We're going to do featured content. Is that what
Oh.
you're trying to tell me? Oh,
There was a dust mite on the TV.
A
I don't
dust
know.
mite.
well, your favorite old dead guy,
I know.
Andew Murray. Do not strive in your own strength. Cast yourself at the feet of the Lord Jesus and wait upon him in this sure confidence that he is with you and works in you. Strive in prayer. Let faith fill your heart so you will be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. And our
Very good.
featured content is Shoulders by King and Country.
Very good. Very good. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Is it not for King and Country?
for King and Country. I don't know. I knew that I was
That's
going to have
for.
that wrong. For King and Country.
CJ always has a problem with me and you.
I know. I don't like.
What is happening to me? I feel like
Well,
I'm losing all
we
my
have a long way to go
screws
today
and
still.
bolts. I
So
know.
this is interesting. Well,
He's wobbly.
yeah, you need to go get a tune-up. Well, until next time, thanks for joining us, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.